Afternoon, friends. Another day working on the ATC here. Got a couple things done. Some parts are starting to trickle in, and I got to get this thing together. You know, the weather's getting nice out, and I want to be able to run this thing around the yard and on my property, so I want to get it going. I do have the carburetor cleaned, and I've got it here. I know on the outside it doesn't look that nice, but on the inside it's actually really clean now. This thing had mud inside of it and was pretty gross, honestly. But everything did clean up pretty well as far as I can see, and I think it's going to work really nicely. So this is ready to go. I do have the recoil completely rebuilt and back onto the bike. So that's bolted in. It does, do all the things it should do as far as pull start goes. The decompressor is not hooked up properly. It's one of the things that I ran into when putting that back together. The cable that's on it is actually in really bad shape. So I need to order the proper cable for this, and that way the decompressor will be all set. Unfortunately, that means I'm gonna have to take it apart again. I may try to run it without that. I have read that guys are doing it out there, so we'll see if that will work. We'll see if that, what that works like, if it's a good long-term fix or if it's just a short-term fix. I have put on the twist throttle, so the twist throttle is in place, the grip's in place. I did pick up a front brake lever. Not super happy with it. This is supposed to be a direct replacement. Obviously, as you can see, it's huge. It is not the right orientation, so that's actually for this side when the brake should be on the left side. So there's that. I do need brake hardware for the drum in the front here, and I do have that on order, so I'm waiting on that as well. But anyway, I wanted to get the carburetor put back in place today. So we're gonna go ahead and work on getting that buttoned up. And then once the carb's in place, I think I'm gonna mount the tank back on the bike. I know I need fuel lines because the fuel lines that were on it were gone. The tank is super clean on the inside. The petcock works, so I'm happy with those. I did download the manual for this bike, so there's some things I do need to figure out. Unfortunately, it's a PDF format manual, which is what it is. So I have to scroll through the pages on my phone, unfortunately. But I've got some breather lines here that I'm not exactly sure where they go. There's the crankcase breather on the back side of the engine here, and it goes up to a T, and then the two T ends go, I'm not sure where. So I do need to figure that out. I feel like one goes to the air box and one goes, I'm not sure yet, but I'll work on that as well. Probably not today. But today, let's get this carb installed. And looking at this, I think I'm going to put the intake onto the carburetor first before I thread the carburetor into the head. I think that'll give me enough room to be able to maneuver this the way I need to in the bike. So we'll go ahead and loosely put everything together. One of the many things that this bike is missing is the proper clamp for the intake boot, unfortunately. So I'm just going to use the one that I have, that I've had on the shelf. It's pretty close to being the proper size, and it'll fit real well. Obviously, it doesn't look too bad. So we're going to utilize that. Again, just loosely fitting things together so I can maneuver it and finagle it any way I need to. Okay, with the carb assembly all loosely fit together, I should be able to slide it in between the frame rail and the engine here to get it properly put in place. One of the things I didn't do on this bike was I didn't take pictures of the proper orientation of the intake and the carburetor. I assumed I would remember it. Unfortunately, after so many things have gone on and weeks of being off the bike, I kind of forgot how it went. Now I should have looked into, the manual and seen if I could find the proper orientation. I just thought, I could get it, and unfortunately I've fought with it for a little while now. But it is in place, and now all I need to do is go ahead and button up the nuts and bolts and make sure everything is tight. For ease of use and for aesthetics, I'm going to put the brake on the right-hand side. Now I'm not sure if that's the proper location or not. The orientation of the lever and how it's set up says that it should be that way. My mind says the brake should be on the left-hand side, and that could be just an old Harley-Davidson thing. Maybe that's not an old Honda thing. I'm not really sure. It's been a long time since I've been on an old three-wheeler, and I really can't remember where the brake was. My mind tells me it was on the left-hand side, but maybe I'm wrong. I know one of them had a clutch and the other one did not. It was a Honda-Matic, and this is a Honda-Matic. So maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I have it in the wrong orientation in my mind. So I'm going to put the brake lever on this side. So the brake is over here. it does leave a lot of real estate on the left-hand side, so maybe I'll move that control housing, the switch housing, further down toward the grips itself. But I just want to get this cable put in place and get the lever on. So it's just one more thing done. Got a new sticker for my sticker door. In case you guys didn't know, all the products that I buy or different vendors that I support, or even you guys, if you guys have stickers, you're welcome to send me those. I do have a door that divides the customer area from the back room area, and I have it stickered with all kinds of different vendor stickers, different people I bought stuff from, different people I've met in life. So if you're a sticker person and you have your own stickers and you'd like to send them to me, let me know. I'll be glad to post it on the door. In looking at the bike, I see that there are cable stays on the right-hand side. So I guess that means that the brake does go on the right-hand side. I know on modern motorcycles, your master cylinder for the front is on the right handlebar. But with old Harley-Davidsons, it was on the left-hand side. Typically because your brake drum was on that side too. So your panheads, your flatheads, your older bikes or whatnot had a left-hand brake. And I guess I'm just used to seeing that. And that's where my mind went. I know shovel heads are all on the right-hand side, and I put a lot of them on there. For some reason, I really thought that these old Hondas were the same as the older bikes, and they were supposed to be on the left. But in seeing these cable stays here, you know, my assumption now is that this should be actually on the right-hand side. So that's where I've installed it. Anyway, guys, this is where we're at for the day. You know, I don't have any more parts, unfortunately. I'm waiting on some things yet. You know, shipping is a nightmare right now. Unfortunately, things are taking longer and longer. You know, no offense to anybody that's shipping out there. You know, I understand it because I ship myself. So a lot of times, you know, I'll send something out and a lot of times it's the carrier. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, I try to ship everything either the same day or the next day, and often those packages leave me and they take longer than they should. And I know the world's kind of messed up right now and there's a lot of, you know, stop gaps between me and the customer. So I'm not faulting anybody for those shipping delays, but I am waiting on parts. So there are things that I need for this bike. Obviously the front brakes, you know, are not buttoned up yet. I've got, I can't even think what the heck I've got on order left. Got a few things on order. I think I might order the manual for this. The PDF format's great and all, but staring at your phone screen and scrolling page after page after page, for me, that's not optimal. I'd rather pick up a book, look at the pages, and then read about what I'm doing. So I'm thinking about trying to find one of those. Anyway, if you guys, you know, enjoyed the video, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up. I know this is kind of a short one. Wasn't a lot to do today, but I kind of wanted to bring you along through the process. You know, show you the update on the bike and then kind of get you up to date as to where I'm at with it. You know, a couple little things I'll probably tinker with as far as moving that grip or the controls that way. The fuel tank, I know I'm gonna have to test fit a couple times because I know that this cable here for the throttle is probably in the way now, and I don't want it to bind. So I'll probably have to figure out some routing for that. And those are things I'll do off camera. Those are things that are kind of boring anyway. You know, so I'll tinker with those things. After that, it's just buttoning up, you know, the few little things that I've got left. That decompressor unit, it has fresh oil in it, so the oil's good in this bike. The previous owner did change it recently, so that's all good fresh oil. So I'm gonna, you know, start it and run it that way for a little while, and then I'll go ahead and I'll change the oil myself. The key is to get this thing going. You know, once I'm riding and whatnot, I can test out that patch, let you guys know what I think of it. As always, guys, I appreciate you following along, appreciate the input, you know, appreciate the back and forth, you know, comments and talking about, you know, whatnot. I really like that. I'm enjoying that. I hope you guys have a great day. We'll catch you next time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.